Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a double homicide in an Austin suburb shocks the community, and the suspect identified as the 45-year-old son.
We continue diving into the Victoria mayoral candidates' personalities beyond their policy platforms as we introduce another candidate.
And ERCOT issues a weather watch for next Monday's cold front.
Yes, we've got a lot of weather headed in our direction. We've got to start taking care of our pipes, tender vegetation, our pets, and sprinkler systems and all kinds of things. We're looking for a hard freeze next week, coldest air we've seen this year. We'll talk all about it and get you prepared and planned for this. All that coming up in just a moment.
And one of the most legendary coaches of all time reportedly retiring. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Victoria police arrested 24-year-old Triana Stovall of Victoria in the 5800 block of North Stockbauer Tuesday night. She faces 6 charges, including 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. She is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $33,700 bond.
Over the weekend, a theft occurred at Scherer Kubota, located at 1984 U.S. Highway 77 south of Hallettsville. Authorities say suspects cut the fence in the rear of the property and took 8 mowers and a compact tractor with a loader and backhoe. If you have information about this crime, call Lavaca County Crime Stoppers at 361-401-1930 for a cash reward. The Republican women of the Yoakum area are hosting a GOP candidates forum this Saturday at the Yoakum Community Center, 105 Huck Street. The forum for state and federal candidates starts at 6 p.m.
We recently had all of the mayoral candidates live on 25 News Now at 5 to hear their various platforms, and now we're giving you a chance to learn more about their character and personality. We asked all of the candidates the same 4 questions. Our first question was for them to show us an important item in their home or office.
Number 2, talk to me about your dream job when you were a child. Number 3, if you're elected mayor, what is your greatest fear? And finally, what is your favorite quote and why?
My dad wrote a book about his childhood, and 100% that's my most valuable tangible possession. Yeah.
Is that a book that you can purchase or it's available?
No, it's actually he put it together, and there's 5 copies, and each of my siblings and myself have one, and so that's irreplaceable as far as I'm concerned. You know, I wanted to be a professional baseball player, which, you know, what kid doesn't? What a great job, but it's not what the cards held for me, obviously. Yeah, you know, I think anytime you're going into a position with those kind of responsibilities or a project, your greatest fear has to be what information is out there that I don't know about, that if I did know about it, I could attack this issue better, I could handle this situation better. So I think it's just a fear of what's out there that you need to know that you don't know about, which is why I'm always trying to, you know, get additional information and study, try to learn everything I can about what I'm working on. There is, and it's too long to quote here, but it's referred to as the man in the arena, and it's a quote by Teddy Roosevelt, and the gist of it is basically putting yourself out there, doing things that open yourself up to potential criticism, to potential scorn, slings and arrows from others, that sort of thing, but doing so because you know that that's something that you need to do and you want to do. But that's always been my favorite quote.
That was Dwayne Crocker. Also on the ballot, Josephine Solis, Jacob Salceda, Peter Brown, Carissa Winters, and Robert Bob Constantine. Early voting starts January 17th and runs through January 30th. Join us Saturday, February 3rd for complete coverage of the special mayor election. Now, a Republican primary candidate forum will be held Monday, January 15th in Port Lavaca. The forum will be at Drifters Hall, 5287 McDonald Road from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Call 361-552-633-13 for more information.
ERCOT has issued a weather watch from January 15th through the 17th next week. The watch is due to forecasted extreme cold weather across the ERCOT region, higher electrical demand, and the potential for lower reserves. Grid conditions are expected to be normal during an ERCOT weather watch. ERCOT continues to monitor conditions closely and will deploy all available tools to manage the grid. ERCOT says no action right now is needed. The Homeless Coalition of the Golden Crescent says 2 warming centers will open in Victoria Sunday at 5 p.m. The Salvation Army of Victoria headquarters, 1302 North Lewis Street, and First United Methodist Church, 407 North Bridge Street, will stay open as warming centers until Wednesday at 8 a.m. Transportation to the warming centers is available from Christ's Kitchen, 611 East Warren Avenue.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis, who knows all about this cold front hitting us next Monday.
Yes, we've been talking about it for a couple of days, and I want to give you an idea of where the temperatures are going to be. Tonight, we start at a 54. On Friday, we'll get down to 38, but that's the first front. Then we get mild for Saturday. Sunday's a little cold, but then by Monday night, we're going down to 24 degrees, and obviously that's going to be a hard freeze for all of the area. That's going to be lasting for about 3 days. I'll have more on your chilly weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Mac, thank you. Now to a tragic story out of a suburb in the Austin area. A former judge and his wife were shot to death in their home Monday night.
Police have a suspect in custody, and it's their 45-year-old son.
A tragedy in Williamson County as Seth Carnes is in custody tonight for the murder of his parents, former District Judge Bert Carnes and his wife Susan. CBS Austin has confirmed a harrowing double homicide Monday night. The arrest affidavit says it was Seth Carnes' 20-year-old daughter, the victim's granddaughter, who called 911 late Monday night. The Williamson County Sheriff's Office arrived on scene late Monday night, where they say 45-year-old Seth Carnes came out of the house with one hand in the air and the other holding a coffee mug. And deputies say Seth admitted to killing his parents. Speaking with detectives, Seth Carnes said he thought his mother was trying to put a sleeping pill in his mouth, which he did not want to take. When a detective asked if there was any other reason he shot his mother beside the sleeping pill, Carnes allegedly said, "That's it." Asked if there was a reason he shot his father, Judge Bert Carnes, he said, "I've just been looking for something and figured I would finish the job." The loss of the judge who served on the 368th Judicial District Court of Texas with decades of practice shaking the Central Texas community.
It's hard to put into words how much Judge Carnes meant to the legal community in Central Texas.
Rick Kofer, a Central Texas attorney, knew Carnes and says he had argued a case just last year in front of him.
He was known as a law and order judge. Some would say a throw the book at him type judge. I always found him to be thoughtful, to be kind, and to be a model jurist.
In a statement to CBS Austin, Williamson County Judge Bill Gravel told us Judge Carnes was a committed public servant, respected jurist, and beloved community member. His is a legacy of service in our system of justice, and we mourn his and his wife's death.
A third arrest has been made in the murders of a pregnant teen and her boyfriend in San Antonio. 47-year-old Myrta Romanos faces charges including abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence. These charges are in connection with the deaths of 18-year-old Savannah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. Authorities believe she is tied to the 2 suspects arrested last week in the case, and they say Romanos admitted that her gun was the murder weapon. Authorities do not believe there are any other suspects involved in the case.
San Antonio fire crews responded to a 2-alarm fire at a warehouse early this morning. KSAT reported that calls of a fire came in just before 7 a.m. These massive flames could be seen coming out of the building. Fire crews managed to stop the fire at the front of the business. Authorities said one person had been inside and was able to leave safely. They are still investigating the cause of the fire. However, they do not believe it to be suspicious. Now, some Republicans now say they're willing to shut down the government if Democrats don't meet their demands.
It's a potentially unpopular position in an election year, but they say border security and debt reduction are worth it.
There's a likelihood we could have a week or 2 short-term, shutdown.
A growing number of Republicans say they'd support using a government shutdown as a negotiating tactic. Right now, the U.S. is operating under a 2-part funding plan that expires January 19th and February 2nd. Some conservatives say letting the clock run out could pressure Democrats into more spending cuts and tighter border security. Several are holding an event this afternoon to explain that position. They have support from a few GOP leaders.
There are only some very rare exceptions and extenuating circumstances. The border is one of those.
There's a real urgency to get these appropriation bills passed.
But the group doesn't speak for the whole party.
We absolutely cannot have a government shutdown.
It's just a small minority. Unfortunately, we just have a small majority.
Past polling suggests shutdowns are unpopular, and this is an election year. Speaker Mike Johnson says House and Senate leaders are working on a long-term bipartisan plan. Democrats are signaling they could support it, but working across the aisle is what cost former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the gavel.
But people are saying that at home, and they do not want to see our Republican Speaker of the House getting rolled in these meetings behind closed doors.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The former Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson was laid to rest in Austin this afternoon. Johnson is described as a towering Dallas political figure. She began her career as a nurse and was the first black woman elected to any seat in Dallas. She was the only third Texas woman behind Lara Thomas and Barbara Jordan, both from Houston, to represent Texas in the U.S. House. Johnson also became one of the most powerful Texas Democrats in recent memory to serve on Capitol Hill. The Texas Tribune reported that Governor Greg Abbott raised $19 million over the last 6 months in an effort to support political candidates who advocated for expanding school choice in the state of Texas. You can read the full article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. For your viewer poll this afternoon, we want to know, should an elected official use campaign funds to target opponents? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 98% stand at no and 2% stand at yes.
I think that's a landslide.
you think so? You would say?
I think so, yes.
Okay, all right, Don. Well, we want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, you already know we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
Next Monday is the Martin Luther King March and Program. The march starts at 10 a.m. and begins at the Martin Luther King Park on 3808 Callis Street. It will then end at St. Peter's Baptist Church, where a program celebrating the late Reverend Dr. King Jr. will take place. Guest speaker and civil rights attorney Matthew Manning will be attending the program. And here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Port Lavaca received new signs in several public outdoor spaces in an effort to bring public awareness to rules and regulations. Plus, the Calhoun County Commissioner's Court has authorized for an increase in funds for the Sheriff's Office. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. A judge released the final batch of the Epstein documents. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the preliminary details of Prince Andrew's involvement this evening.
Also ahead, the school musical in North Texas that nearly cost 20 students, including a transgender male, their roles. Up next, how the production is now set to hit the stage.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is asking the Texas Supreme Court to intervene in a lawsuit from his former top aides, asking the High Court to block a lower court's order for Paxton to testify in the case. KXAN reports Paxton filed an emergency motion with the Texas Supreme Court on Monday, asking the High Court to stop the whistleblower's request for sworn testimony, which was mandated by a lower Travis County court in December.
The last batch of documents involving accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein have been released. More than 150 people were named or mentioned in the documents related to the investigation into Epstein. The wealthy financier allegedly maintained a network of teenage girls he paid to engage in sexual acts with him and other powerful men. The names are largely known from previous public documents and interviews, and many only have a passing connection to the scandal. In the last batch of documents are allegations that Epstein paid a teen $15,000 to have sex with Britain's Prince Andrew back in 2011. Prince Andrew has repeatedly denied the incident.
Sherman High School's production of the musical Oklahoma will take the stage January 19th.
This comes after the Sherman ISD board made headlines when they reversed its gender policy decision.
Rehearsing for Oklahoma has been anything but ordinary.
We've definitely been through a lot.
In addition to memorizing lines and building sets, the cast wasn't sure if the show would go on for weeks.
We had to wait to do some of our rehearsals, obviously, but in that process, we just still ran songs in the classroom.
All while school administrators debated the show's fate. At one point, the district wanted a full recast and to put on the junior version of Oklahoma. Leaders of the theater program say they were not included in decisions about their show.
I have to hold out hope that, everything's going to go right, that, karma's going to kick in.
Fortunately for the cast and crew, everything worked out when the school board unanimously voted to reverse these decisions.
It's really exciting. I didn't think, we'd get to do it.
The show will go on in front of an audience that stretches far wider than Texoma.
A lot of people are going to be watching. That's going to be awesome.
This production has set a new precedent for Sherman High School.
The show was originally just going to be another show, and now it's grown into something much more meaningful.
It has sent a message that there will be equality in the theater program and beyond.
We just make sure that we cast who best fits the role. We'll just continue to do that.
The San Antonio Zoo is welcoming the return of flying foxes, an endangered species that has not been at the zoo since the 1980s. A group of flying foxes were relocated from Zoo Tampa to the San Antonio Zoo, and they are now available to view near the tree kangaroos. The large flying fox is listed as endangered. The flying fox is actually a bat that feeds on fruit. They weigh about 8 pounds and have a wingspan of up to 5.5 feet wide.
Here's a look at some of the top headlines you'll find in the Quail Record. Ben Gray becomes the new DeWitt County Assistant District Attorney, and the Quail Rotary Club announces 5 new members. Read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Good evening, everybody. We had some clear skies out there. A pretty nice looking day after the wind settled down. Tomorrow the winds are going to be coming the other way, and the first storm that we've got to deal with is going to be a windstorm. The second storm we're going to deal with is the big chill. Will it be the big, what was it? The big frost, the super frost? Will it be that? Nah, I'm not sure. We'll talk about it. We'll tell you when the cold air gets here, coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I've got a map here that's going to show you the low temperatures for the next 5 days. And you can see tomorrow we'll be down into the 50s. And then on Friday, we've got that windy frontal system coming in, getting us down to the 30s. And for Saturday, not so bad. We get up to the 50s. But then Sunday night, we drop down as the big north wind blows in and gives us the big chill. That's what I'm going to call it. Looks like Monday night into Tuesday night into Wednesday, we'll have temperatures down into the 20s here in the Crossroads, so we need to get ready for it now. So you know how they run out of those foamy things at Home Depot real quick. So if you're going to need them and you have exposed water pipes, you just need to get to that quickly, or drive to Cuero or something like that. Otherwise, you need to make sure you cover your tender vegetation. Flower pots that are going to be on the patio got to be inside. And then provide shelter for any outdoor pets that you have, even, you know, the large pets, you know, the cattle and the horses and all that. And the advice is to shut down your sprinkler system. Try and make sure there's no water in them, because when the water freezes, it expands, and next springtime you'll know which water lines are gone. Right now, we're looking at fairly comfortable temperatures. We're looking at 63 here in Victoria and pretty much in the 60s around the area. Of course, we had a lot of sun and we had a lot of wind, but the winds have settled down. As a matter of fact, they're returning back up from the south, and that's why we're going to be mild for a day. But we're doing a roller coaster of temperatures. The high pressure gave us the sunny, nice day, and the winds sort of settled down. Our old storm from Monday is way out there, and our new storm for Friday is here. Now, as I mentioned, this one is going to be a wind storm. Friday afternoon, we're looking for 40-mile-an-hour winds blowing here. So you need to get ready for that one too. You know how they blew up those big Santas for that? You better bring Santa in if it's a big blow up, because otherwise Santa will be visiting other people for the next few days. Here's Future Tracker, and it's going to be complicated. Now you see we've got that southerly wind, but we watch out to the west. By Friday or even Thursday night, the low starts rolling into North Texas. Yes, there's some snow up north in the Panhandle. We're going to have a very slim chance of any kind of rain down here, although to the north it's going to be more interesting. And that's Friday, and it blows away. So we get all the way to Saturday, and it's going to be a fairly nice day. Then things get real complicated. Here's Sunday night. Sunday night, all of a sudden we've got an icy mix coming down. It's basically going to be traveling from Dallas, getting colder, getting colder, getting colder, almost to the I-10 corridor. So as we get into Monday, we've got some snow to the north. We've got icy conditions even getting into the northern end of the Crossroads, okay? And of course, rain to the south, and that would be on your Monday night and into Tuesday. The good news is by Tuesday afternoon, it blows away very quickly, and then we're going to be just downright cold as the cold, dry air rolls in. So what's the difference between this one and the Arctic blast last time that we froze? There's not going to be as much snow or ice with this one, although it could change. Mostly cloudy by tomorrow, up to 73 in Port Lavaca. In Cuero, we're getting up to 73 as well, so that's your Thursday. It's not so bad. Even in Victoria, we're getting up to about 70 degrees, mostly sunny. Here's the extended outlook, and this is where it gets complicated. So Friday is very windy, 40-mile-an-hour winds. Then Saturday, Sunday, not so bad. Sunday night, frontal system blows in overnight, and by sunrise, I'm calling it an alert day for Monday. The high temperature, 39, down to 21 at night, cold Wednesday morning, and Thursday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning will be down to below freezing. So we need to get ready for that. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Karina, do you know where your heavy coat is?
Mac, I have been storing that heavy coat for quite some time, and I've been wanting to pull it out for, you guys know, cold is my thing.
Hey, this is the Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is my time to shine. Alrighty, well now let's toss it to Zach Brown with your sports.
We're going to have more scores from around the area and a massive report of a legend retiring. I'll have that in sports. Some more basketball scores from around the area last night. The ranked Shiner ladies took on Schulenburg, and let's just say they had their way in this one. A quick release on the three-pointer right here is going to open up an already large lead even further. Back on the defensive side, they get the stop there, and that great defense going to lead to some fast break points. Clinical for the girls on this possession, and on their next possession, the exact same story. This is 3 possessions in a row, okay? It was a track meet, and Schulenburg just could not keep up. Shiner wins 72-12. They play at Louise this Friday. Same gym, but this time for the boys. In this one, a much tighter game. Shiner down just 2 to Schulenburg, but the layup right here, no good. Put back, no good, and they get tied up, and they give the possession to Schulenburg, who was then fouled on the inbound. They made one of their free throws, so Shiner still with a chance, but they need a 3. They're going to get it up, but it's going to get stuffed at the horn. The Shiner boys fall 53-50. What a great game. Over at Victoria East, the girls have been dominant out on the courts, looking to stay undefeated in district, and they're going to do just that. They defeat Miller 87-42. They're 3-0 in district play, and the Villa Sanchez led the way with 22 in the game. The East boys did not have the same luck with Miller. Tough 5-point loss for their first District L of the year, looking for that home court advantage against Ray this Friday. The Refugio girls knocked off Yorktown 51-45. Refugio moves to 2-3 in district. Yorktown falls to 2-3 in district play. A shocking report. It is being reported by many major networks that Nick Saban is retiring. He won 6 national championships with Bama, 5 SEC Coach of the Year awards. In his entire college coaching career, he has won 297 games, which is 5th all time. That's nearly an 80% winning percentage. The accolades go on and on and on. Early reports say that Oregon head coach Dan Lanning is the early front runner to replace the legend. Nick Saban was actually a defensive back coach for the Houston Oilers in the 1988 season. I didn't know that. Dawn actually told me that. And speaking of Houston football, C.J. Stroud is your AFC Player of the Week. That's it for your sports. Donna Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're going to be back in a moment. As of this morning, Miami is now home port for the world's largest cruise ship. We have this story up next.
Finally tonight, how big is this ship? Well, I'll tell you. Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship, pulled into its new home port in Miami this morning. The 20-deck ship is nearly 1,200 feet long and weighs over 250,000 gross tons. The 7,600-passenger ship, which took 900 days to build, features 7 pools, 6 record-breaking water slides, and about 40 bar and dining options, as well as a ropes course and thrill ride, a Flow Rider wave simulator, and a mini golf course. Yes,
that's just a town.
You can play putt-putt on that, wow,
on the
my
high seas.
goodness.
Yeah.
On the high seas. That is one place
It's
where
a whole city.
That's a tiny little city.
That's one place where it might not be a bad place to be like early next week here because...
Well, true, yeah. If you can get on a Caribbean
chilly.
cruise, I'd go. But,
yes.
The rest of us are going to be chilling out. So do you know where your winter coat is? Because we're going to go beyond sweaters and beyond light jackets because it's going to be a cold one. Now, we start off tomorrow fairly mild. You see in the 70s. The first front is a windy front. Friday's going to be very windy, about 40-mile-an-hour winds. Weekend's okay. It's Monday night when the Arctic blast rolls in, calling it an alert day, and we're looking for temperatures below freezing in the 20s for about 3 mornings. So let's get ready for it now.
And we do have information we mentioned earlier about the 2 warming centers that are opening in Victoria on late Sunday afternoon. That information is on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And thank you for joining us tonight.
That's right. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.